Hello and welcome to Chapter 297 of the DC Alliance podcast. With me, as always, is Joe. Joe, how you doing today?
Oh, I'm not too shabby. Just got back from a vacation. My girlfriend and I went to Disney World for most of this week, and man, it was relaxing. It was so good. Also, if you ever want to go to Disney, go like the first week of January because there's like nobody there. Our wait times for most of the rides was like at most 30 minutes. Majority of the time, it was basically a walk on any ride. It
That
was
makes
wonderful.
sense. That makes sense with the long holiday. Like I can imagine even like the days after like July 4th weekend and Memorial weekend are pretty good, but Christmas is such a long holiday that bleeds into New Year's that
Yeah.
you go
So
after, yeah.
we were talking with our with the driver going to and from the airport, and he was like, "Yeah, after New Year's, people are heading out, so that's a pretty busy time. But even for like Disney, there are obviously not there was people there, but like kids are going back to school, school starting up for a lot of uh, areas around around the United States. So everybody's there. So people aren't there. Most people aren't there. But for all in all, though, we had a really good time, and it was a lot of fun. They've got a new parade going on, which was fun to watch. Um, Trying to think what else there was going on. But other than that, like it's just been just a fun. It was also like apparently very cold and rainy here in Indiana, so
Oh,
the
it's nice to
highest
miss
that
that.
got the warmest that got down there was like in the 70s. So, which was nice because I was just wearing shorts the entire time, which is great.
That's like the dream. That's the
Yeah.
one thing I wish like was in a warmer climate for is just to wear shorts all the time, but
Yeah, in
alas,
January of all places.
we get hit with snow. So
Yeah, but how you been?
I've been good, Joe. Not Disneyland good, but
Yeah, sorry.
pretty good. Well, no, I'm just glad you had a great time. Just been working through the week. We had a snowstorm on Monday. Oliver didn't have daycare, so he stayed home with me. I had to take the day. No, Allison took the day off, so I worked. That's what I was going to take the day off because I couldn't like quasi work again and watch him. So
Mm,
she stayed home though. So I worked, and then the rest of the week's been pretty boring to be honest with you. Except I started a new show for the Animation Nations, The Batman from 2004. So that's been an enjoyable. Dug in and watched a few episodes. So hoping I can record a couple over the weekend. But you know how that usually goes for me.
yeah.
Kind of goes away. So we got a little bit of news here. Not a big lot of news here this week, listeners, but we got a little bit of somewhat breaking news. So we decided, we'll come on and do an episode. It might be a little bit shorter, but we'll still get some fun in here.
Of course.
Before we do all that, let me get the network plugs out of the way. So we are part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance with 6 shows in total. On Mondays, bi-weekly is Ranger Alliance. On Tuesdays is a walk through the multiverse. On Wednesdays is the Animation Nation. On Thursdays is Star Wars Alliance. On Fridays is Marvel Alliance. And on Saturdays is DC Alliance. Star Wars Alliance goes live on the Geekverse YouTube channel Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Marvel Alliance goes live Thursdays at 9:10 p.m. Eastern Time. And DC Alliance goes live Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. All three of those shows have their own podcast feeds. Search DC Alliance, Marvel Alliance, and Star Wars Alliance. If you just want DC content, Marvel content, or Star Wars content only, but if you want all 6 shows on the GUA Podcast Network, stay subscribed to the GUA on your podcast app of choice. We also have a Patreon, 2 tiers, $1 tier and a $5 tier. The dollar tier is basically tip jar, like we're doing. You want to help us out any way you can. And the $5 tier is where you get your extras, you get your ad-free episodes, early access episodes, and Patreon exclusive episodes. Myself and Joe are going through all the DC films through the years. Over 35 pieces of content out there for the patrons right now. We also have Joe's Multiverse Minutes, where he's doing his Disney deep dive on the 1st and the 15th of every month. Joe reviews the Disney film, not just reviews it, but gives you fun behind the scenes facts, tidbits, all that sort of thing. Joe, what's on deck for the patrons on the 15th?
Pocahontas,
Ooh,
which I think that's the first. Like I've seen bits and pieces. I don't think I've seen the thing all the way through. So it'll be fun to actually watch
I
that one.
remember watching that in school when I was
Oh,
in
interesting.
grade 5, I think, or grade 3, one of those grades. But we also have a show with 3 shows on the backlog for the patrons from Marvel Alliance. Their Infinity Watch saga, their Tales from the House of X, talking about their favorite Fox Marvel films, and their Baxter broadcast going over the 4 Fantastic Four films. We thank everyone that's a patron. If you're not a patron, take a quick 30, 60 seconds, rate and review the podcast on your podcast app of choice. It's always greatly appreciated. It helps other people find the shows, and that's always a good thing. Okay, Joe. We got some breaking news. Before we get to that, we got a little bit of a timeline here of Sebastian Stan coming into the Batman part 2. So there was a article from Deadline on January 6th basically saying he's in talks. And then there was another article that came out at the same day saying that he, from Variety, saying he was going to join it. And then we have another one from I think the Heat Vision. So I'm going to go through the Variety one, Sebastian Stan to join Robert Pattinson in the Batman Part 2, because the first one kind of, it was in talks. So Sebastian Stan maybe hit it. So now they're saying he is doing it, but then they're saying maybe hit it to Gotham City. So that's hilarious. We'll read the other one in a second, confirming it. Stan is no longer, he's no stranger to, obviously, he's playing the Winter Soldier. Anyway, the Batman Part 2, written by Matt Thompson, recently added Cameo Award nominee Scarlett Johansson to an already star-studded cast. And says Batman to design. It's been a long journey, but I'm incredibly. There's nothing here talking about that. The filmmaker review. So yeah, so there's nothing. DC Studios has no comment on the casting. Stan is written by CAA. So I wanted to get to the one that just came out because that one has a bit more meat on the bones. So just bear with me here.
Which article was that? Is that the Variety one or
no? This is one that I had in the chat here.
Okay.
Hold on a second. I'll bring it up. Oh, it's still one of those.
While you're looking it up, I'll just go ahead and give this little announcement. Normally, for Walk Through the Multiverse, I've been putting out the Fallout episodes like Saturdays, but because of my vacation, I said I was going to do it a day late this week. I'm tired. As much as I had a vacation, I did have to drive 2 hours home, so I was sitting at home today and I was getting ready to record, and I'm just like, I don't want to do it. So I just kind of took today to relax. So I'll just have a double episode next week for my coverage of Fallout, just so everybody knows.
There you go. And I have found the article, and I'm going to send it to my DC Alliance Twitter here.
Okay.
And open it up. Here we go. And yeah, we're not 100% confirmed that people were speculating who he could have played, Joe. So
yeah, I know the big speculation was Two-Face. Everybody was kind of thinking he was going to be Two-Face.
Yeah, and then there's some other speculation of Hush.
Which I knew rumors of Hush was going around. Not him being as Hush, but Hush being in the movie. That was like one of the first rumors when the script was coming around, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so he basically just said that, confirming that Sebastian Stan is going to be in the Batman Part 2. So there wasn't a whole lot that he gave for sources, but that stuff that frustrates me sometimes, because it's just on the very bottom of the article, it just says Deadline first reported this. So that seems to be the most thing that they're concerned about.
Well, yeah, you gotta get first. You have to get who reported it first, because nowadays
anarchy.
Yeah, but it still is it's still not a full confirmation that he's in it. It's just
not from like Matt
currently
Reeves.
Rumors.
Yeah. But you're saying that, but his stylist, there's two things. First, the stylist put out a picture of him basically looking like Two-Face.
I do remember seeing that. I think I was sharing the group chat.
Then secondly, Mike Tomlin, the guy who wrote it, said he's always thinking of characters for him in mind, because he's one of his really good friends.
Okay.
So
interesting.
That's kind of the smoke by the fire of what like he could potentially play. Now, I'm not against him playing Hush. I hope he's not playing a mediocre character, but it wouldn't line up a little bit too if he's playing Two-Face, and Scarlett Johansson is playing his wife.
Gilda.
Yeah.
That would be. I mean, that would be kind of fun. I like both. I like both Scarlett and Sebastian. I think they're both great actors and actresses. Like I like their. I love them both. I'm not saying we need to do Two-Face again, but we just had Two-Face in Dark Knight. So why not go the Hush route? And why not give us a new character we haven't seen in live action? I like that option. Like we're getting Clayface here toward the end of the year. You know, a character we haven't seen in live action, which is great.
Also,
Yes, I know we just got Riddler, but it was a different interpretation of Riddler.
I
know
don't
we
really
got
need
Joker with Barry Keoghan, however you say his name, which is definitely looks like a very different Joker than we're going to have. Like, I know we're getting a couple of characters that we've already seen in live action, but we're getting different interpretations, and I like that, and that's fine. And I know if he is Two-Face, it will be a different interpretation. And again, that's fine, and I'm going to be okay with it. But why not give us a new character altogether, you know?
I'm also not exactly the biggest fan of like the Long Halloween.
Fair.
I think it's good.
I do enjoy that book, but
I think it's good.
I understand it.
Especially, but I don't think it's the greatest to adapt.
Oh, it's correct.
Yeah.
Hush is another one that is hard to adapt because, like Long Halloween, you need the full cast.
Yes.
You don't need the full cast,
but it helps.
The full cast helps.
Yes, and also the big twist. Most people know it going in for both of those.
Right.
So it's hard. I know the casual audience. It's hard to do it to still keep people that know the story, but make the story simple and relate to the casual audience that's going to hear it for the first time.
Right.
So I think it's easier to do that with like Woman of Tomorrow than it is doing it with Long Halloween. And like you said, Hush is even another example of doing that really hard pitch. You almost need the entire rogue gallery, which is
it complements the story. You can now. I know the cartoon, the animated movie. Again, that one worked for a good minute up until the last third of the movie.
Yeah,
because then they really just messed it up. But the thing that benefited that is because you're going into an animated series, you didn't have to introduce all of his
rogue gallery.
You already knew what it was going in. Having a live action, series, and he's still early in his time frame here. You do kind of need to introduce all of his villains, all of his enemies,
his rogues,
and Hush. But that's where you have a unique opportunity here, because Hush is for those. Okay, I'm going to spoil it for those who don't know who Hush is. Hush is Dr. Thomas Elliot. He was Bruce Wayne's young, like when they were kids, he was his friend. He was, when they were, I was going to say socialites, that's not right. When they both had rich parents, when both parents were alive, he was another rich, spoiled kid who wanted to kind of just have his parents die. After he saw Bruce's parents die and saw that he inherited all of his riches, he's like, well, I want my parents dead. I want to get all that money. So he plotted to have his parents die. His dad died. His mom didn't. His mom lived for another long-ass time, up until he was an adult. And when she finally died, by that point in time, he was a doctor. He already made a bunch of money on his own right. But then he got all that inheritance. But I think most of that got blown trying to keep her alive on like dialysis and basically like cancer and all that stuff. Eventually, he just kind of grew to have resentment for Bruce and went to basically became a villain named Hush and went in recruited. I say recruited.
/ blackmail / strong arm /
it was really more of Riddler was involved, went to Elliot for help, found out in some machinations, found out that Bruce Wayne was Batman. Everything kind of came together. They plotted to kind of mess with Batman and Bruce Wayne both at the same time by bringing in the Rose Gallery, by bringing in basically pushing, having Bruce and Batman push all of his friends away to basically isolate him and basically mess with him for a whole year.
Mm-hmm.
And by the end of it, it was it kind of left a lot. We got a lot of different things from it. We got the return of Jason Todd, which was, for lack of, Jason Todd was going to return anyway because of the crisis thing, but that's a whole different matter. But we got an amazing character, an amazing villain with Hush.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is, though, you can have Hush work. You can take out the rogues, and you can have him be a jaded, like, friend from his past who saw. You can have that backstory of him seeing Bruce lose his parents, gain the riches, and him being jaded and being selfish of that, and trying to go that route, and have him try to kill his parents, and it not work out, and him just have to just basically live with his mom on death's door for his whole life. And you can make it work. The beauty of it, of how the Hush comic works, is how Hush manipulated the rogues to mess with Batman for that entire year. That's where that thing interweaves and the storytelling takes place. Now, if you go on just the Bruce side of it all, that's where it could work out. The Batman side of it all is where it's going to get a little murky.
Yeah, and you notice that in the animated adaptation they did for Hush as well. It did get a little murky, and then they tried to do a different finish because they thought people knew about the original finish. And I would thought you just better just to do the full
go with the original finish, because that was a
very rare. Only time I've ever seen that work out is Red Son. I feel like there's a little part in that at the end that doesn't.
They tweaked that enough to where it still honored the comic, but because they didn't change a lot of it. Because it still worked.
Just the ending, really.
Yeah.
And that was one of my more enjoyable to add animated.
I haven't seen that
movies.
one forever. I need to watch that again soon.
Really good one. But yeah, again, Joe, I'm excited for this as well. And I don't know either Two-Face or Hush. I'm just excited for him to play a character. I think he's going to be pretty good here. And yeah, let's take our first and maybe only ad break of the evening. Listeners, we're an ad support network. We don't pick the ads at a time. They give you a quick 3 count to adjust your volume, and we'll be right back in 3, 2, 1. We're back. Okay, Joe, we got some news. So we'll jump into that. We got a variety article from James Gunn. I have looked at that. So Superman questions are down the line a little bit. He did talk about Superman. He said, when I first started the cast and crew, I wanted to make something about goodness. This guy isn't perfect, even though he's Superman. He's really just trying to do his best. He's good-natured. He's loving. He sees the best in everyone, which kind of harkens back to what Kara said. And then he just talks about Guardians of the Galaxy a little bit there. What made Superman the hardest film you've directed? This was the hardest movie I've ever made. The next hardest was probably First Guardians, with Guardians Rebuilding Corner View. Versus here, I was reorienting something everyone already thinks they understand. Strangely, it's the most comic book driven thing I've ever done, more than any of my other superhero films. How did the assembling your creative team shape? I've worked with many designers for years. Yeah, same people that he works with, which makes sense. And then what were you most proud of in the visual effects, especially with Crypto the Dog? Framestore work on Crypto is extraordinary. I'll put those shots up against anything I've ever seen. ILM was incredible as well. It was just world-class group of artists working at a high level. Hopefully they did get a bit of time to do this stuff.
Yeah.
You know, some of the things we've heard now, like they have to work around the clock.
I mean, we've heard that from Marvel. I've heard a lot of that with DC, but DC hasn't really been putting a lot out. So now that they're making stuff again, maybe we might hear horror stories since they have a deadline with movies nowadays.
Yeah.
But they also have a longer window. Like these
Yeah.
movies have been greenlit for a minute.
They're in production, pre-production, like they're in production for a lot longer.
Yeah.
Uh, he says, "How does it feel to be a filmmaker and a studio head at the same time?" I don't think it's ever really been done. Even Walt Disney was more of a producer than a director. It's an experiment, and yes, sometimes it probably sounds like madness, especially since I don't make the most of conventional films. But I love big spectacle. That's my jam. I originally said no to the job. I didn't want to do what Kevin Feige does, but once Peter and I realized we'd be doing it together, it became exciting. So he said, just not enough hours in the day.
I think it definitely helps out that he has somebody he could turn to help
Yeah.
versus just him doing both. I think if it was just him running the company and directing, he wouldn't do it because he couldn't handle it. But
And it's hard.
he can go and film and write and do all that, and then leave everything to Peter for a while, and then once he's done filming, he can come back, work with Peter Safran for a bit. Then he's like, all right, I want to go film something. Then he can go off and film something.
And Joe, the last question there, I skipped down to it because it harkens exactly to what you're just talking about. It says, "What does your partnership with Peter Safran bring to DC Studios?" Peter's the best. He does everything I don't do well. He keeps the ship steady, keeps everyone aligned, connects us with Jim Lee in the comic side, and unifies departments that used to operate separately. What we share is a genuine love for these characters. We know what a privilege it is to help shape how people see them now, and that is a responsibility we take very seriously. And then
Perfect.
the last one, what can you tell us about Man of Tomorrow? At its core, it's about Clark and Lex. I relate to both of them. I relate to Lex's ambition and obsession, minus the murder, and I relate to Superman's belief in people, his Midwestern values. So they're two sides of me.
Ooh, you think Lex will find out that Clark is Superman?
No,
You don't think so?
no, maybe, but I'm thinking no.
I can see that being like a end credit scene.
End credit scene that he knows about it or he
That
figures it
he
out.
figures it out.
That would be pretty
Like
cool.
he'll piece something together. Like he'll find something and be like, wait a minute, and like
And
just
then
kind of
you have a computer screen up and like facial match and be like,
yeah something.
how did I not notice that?
Well, like like a confirmed.
No,
It'll
it'll just
be
be
like
the look on his face.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I
But
can see that.
uh, and another thing here, Tom King says casting is underway for Mr. Miracle. He pointed out that also added that replicating the style from Gerard's artwork in the animation, and this was from Comic Pop. The I think it was from a YouTube channel. Comic Pop is yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that pretty much wraps up the news that we had here, Joe. Wasn't a whole lot today, but we did have a little thing here. We're going to talk about more of our favorite DC TV pilots next week if we don't have much news. But I did want to throw out a few to the listeners now. And obviously, my first one, as I have my mug here, would be the Arrow pilot because I was pretty shocked to see. I do remember the exact moment too when he broke that guy's neck, chasing him down as Oliver Queen. That I thought, okay, this is a little different than the shows I'm used to. You got your main character outwardly breaking people's necks just to hide a secret. So that kind of was like, whoa. And then it was 10 episodes before, like, already out when I saw the first one. So I did a binge right away then. And yeah, that was the one that drew me right in right away.
Yeah, the Arrow pilot was one that I do vaguely. I think just him on the island, the very opening scene was just like, oh man, this is kind of it. This is interesting.
It's kind of cool, yeah.
Because it is him on the island, the boat coming in, and I remember. I think it's
basically part of the opening that we see down the line where he's running through the like all that. Like that's partly what we see to open up.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
But I can't remember if it was just before the boat lands and they find him, or it was after, and the camera pans and you see Deathstroke's mask with the arrows through it.
That was after they picked him up. Yeah.
So it's just like island, what? So like,
Deathstroke? Are you kidding me?
Yeah. And I mean, we find out later, like what 5 years later, like season 4 or 5, what all that means. But
yeah, but
still though,
yeah, it was really cool. And I would say the Flash pilot, but the Flash pilot got leaked in the summer, like 2 months before it was supposed to premiere.
Still though, Flash Pilot was
And
still kind of fun
was
because
really fun.
because it was one of those things where like you saw what Arrow could do, and then when they had the backdoor pilot in Flash or in Arrow, and then when the pilot itself happened, it was just like, okay, so they have another hit on their hands.
Yeah.
And I mean, sure enough, it continued on the Arrowverse until the end, basically.
It ran the longest.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
But that was kind of, and it's also the one that really held the Arrowverse together for the longest time too.
Yeah.
Not to say anything bad about
The rest
Legends
of
of
them.
Tomorrow or
We call them the rest of them.
well, because Supergirl was, I did enjoy Supergirl.
Yeah.
I thought Supergirl was another good pilot.
Well, it was the most cinematic and professional of all the pilots because it was made for ABC too.
CBS.
CBS, sorry.
Yes. But then when they started to cross over that, and then they finally brought it over to CW, that was when it kind of started falling into the tropes and falling into just the formula
and assembling a bigger team each season, and like the main characters getting to the background instead of the foreground. And
yeah,
that was the frustrating things about it. The one that I remember vividly is Justice League Secret Origins from the animated series. Like
that's
when I saw that, I was like, oh my god, what? Like all the characters together? Like how are you going to do this at the same time? And
Young Justice for me. Young Justice was
another one. Graduation. That was that was,
one that I remember. Birds of Prey was one that I remember mainly because the opening scene was Batman chasing down Joker, and they didn't show the faces.
No.
Chasing down Joker, killing Joker, and then hooking up with Catwoman to then have Huntress.
Yeah.
And then that show continues on with Huntress.
We'd be silly if we didn't say Smallville.
See, that's the thing. I was going to, but one thing I didn't like about Smallville, especially the pilot, is how much they jammed in all of the Superman stuff. Like, what are you, man or Superman?
The little quiz. Like, yeah.
What are you? What? Why?
Or do the man up Steel? Like if they picked up a Steel Bolt, like that's the kind of thing.
Like they literally shoved that in the first season, let alone the first episode, the pilot episode, so much it annoyed me. Like I chuckled at it then back in 2001 or whenever it was made, but like looking back on it, so as the kids say nowadays, cringe. It's just like, ugh. How did I like this?
I'm trying to think now. Penguin was good.
Penguin was good.
Well, I enjoyed Black Lightning too. I enjoyed Black Lightning.
See, I never watched Black Lightning. I really
the first episode was really good. Well, the guy who's going to be the villain for Spider-Man, the Tombstone, he's a fantastic villain. He's Tobias Whale. He's probably the best part of the show. So for me, that would be one too. That maybe we'll check out pilots down the line, Joe. But that wraps up our small episode covering the Batman Part 2 news mainly. And hopefully we got more on the news front next week. We'll be back again with another episode. If not, we'll make a couple extra topics to talk about so that it's not as short as it was this week, listeners. Yeah. It's slow news week right now. It's slow news week the next few weeks as Marvel dominates with the Avengers teasers.
Yeah.
So
it's going to happen.
We have a couple of movies coming out this year and a couple of shows, so things are going to pick up, obviously. I just can't wait to find out when Man of Tomorrow and Batman Caped Crusader comes out as well, because we don't have dates on any of those things, so those are kind of things I'm hoping to get soon. But we'll be back next week with more DC content. Until then, see you, everyone.
Bye, y'all.